It's your cue, mate.
Announced during the Xbox Showcase at E3 2021, Redfall is a brand new co-op multiplayer game from Arcane Studios, the Austin-based developer behind Dishonored and Deathloop. Redfall is apparently coming in summer 2022, exclusively to Xbox Series X and S consoles and Windows PC. It'll also be releasing on Xbox Game Pass on day one. Now, although we've only seen an admittedly extremely stylish CG trailer for the game thus far, we think we've got a pretty good handle on what kind of game Redfall will be. So, let's break down everything we know so far.
Always get into this
So first up, what's Redfall's story all about? Well, the titular town of Redfall is actually an island town, and this is pretty important. According to the official Xbox site, Redfall used to be a bustling, beautiful island community, boasting everything a coastal town in Massachusetts should have: a lighthouse, a lobster shack, a boardwalk. But then, all of a sudden, vampires arose, somehow blocking out the sun and pushing back the tides, essentially trapping any humans unfortunate enough to be on the island at the time and cutting Redfall off from the rest of the world. Now that the vamps have the run of the place, they're intent on turning its populace into either thralls for their army or, more likely, food. So it's up to Redfall's 4 playable characters to find out where these bloodsuckers are coming from, rescue any human survivors, avoid any human cultists, and put a stop to the vampires for good. Arcane has promised a story-rich campaign for Redfall, even if it is a multiplayer experience. Co-creative director Ricardo Barre says that the team chose strong personalities with distinctive backgrounds to make a more interesting game. We think players are going to enjoy not only the interaction of their various abilities as they fight the vampires, but also seeing their chemistry develop over time as they liberate Redfall, he told Xbox. Aside from the central characters, there's a heavy focus on Redfall's ever-changing open-world setting that Arcane says reacts to players' choices and actions. This open-world angle in particular is new for Arcane. In the past, the developer has mostly focused on, and specialized in, structured single-player experiences like Dishonored and Prey. You can play the entirety of Redfall by yourself too though, so fear not if you don't like playing as a squad. And because Arcane is such an expert in the specific style of single-player gameplay that allows players a generous amount of freedom in a fascinating and well-fleshed-out world, this apparently isn't going to be the same as just any 4-player co-op shooter. And that's according to Pete Hines, speaking with IGN. He says Redfall will do a lot of things that Arcane is well known for and has spent the last 20 plus years refining and honing. So it's likely that Redfall will maybe look a little like 4-player co-op shooters like Left 4 Dead, but there will be some new elements in there too to make Redfall feel more free, like allowing players to choose how they traverse the island, and more story-based, like setting out to find out who caused this vampire plague and why. On the official Bethesda website, the game's creative director Ricardo Barre said that every game Arcane makes is a little different. Dishonored featured stealth, Prey had lots of physics-based gameplay, but despite those differences, Arcane's focus remains on deep world building and inventive game mechanics. The same will be true of Redfall. Knowing so little so far about how Redfall will play, it's the game's characters and their interactions with one another in the CG trailer that have really captured imaginations since their reveal. And rest assured, each character will have their own stories and relationship to the town of Redfall explored in the game's main campaign. Devinder Crowsley is described as an internet-famous paranormal investigator, amateur cryptozoologist, and aspiring inventor. He was actually in the middle of a book tour and ended up in Redfall at the worst possible time. But then again, this might just be the best thing for his career. It's said in his official blurb that after years of struggling to create cutting-edge tech to hunt supernatural phenomena, everything is finally starting to click for him. Turns out he just needed a gentle, life-threatening nudge in the right direction to make it all happen. Anyway, Devinder, or Dev, brings weapons that he made himself into battle and wants to find out the truth behind the vampire assault. to post about it all on social media by the looks of things. But hey, not that we're judging, we would literally be the first to livestream a vampire attack, in all honesty.
Dramatically elongated.
Layla Ellison, the youngest member of Redfall's cast of characters, moved to the island town from Wisconsin to be a student of biomedical engineering at Redfall's Technical University. While there, she volunteered at the definitely not at all shady Avum Therapeutics research facility as an intern. Something mysterious went badly wrong there, and this event left Ellison with strange but powerful telekinetic abilities, which all seem to manifest with an old-fashioned flavour, like the elevator she can conjure or the umbrella shield. I wonder if we'll get more backstory on that.
You're the best. Oh, Jacob, don't even mention it.
Remy De La Rosa is a top-tier combat engineer who worked as part of an elite Navy rescue service, spending most of her life helping those in need all around the world. She brought her robot accomplice named Bribon to Redfall in order to help rescue survivors, though how many survivors there are left to help remains something of a question mark. Described officially as a very empathetic person, it kind of sounds like Remy's role is something of a support character. Maybe she's able to create distractions, buffs and debuffs with her engineering skills, or can send her robot in for some healing boosts. At any rate, a few members of the team at Arcane have said that no one is ready for Bribon and how cute they are, so look forward to that.
To take you apart again.
Jacob Boyer is an ex-military sharpshooter who is now part of an elite private security force. He was sent to the town of Redfall just before the sun was blocked out by the vampires. But according to his official bio, dark circumstances separated him from his platoon, forcing him down a rogue path. Now he stalks the streets of Redfall, neutralizing evil from the shadows with supernatural precision. Unknown events have left him with a mysterious vampiric eye and a spectral raven that's never far from his shoulder. So, could Jacob have been infected by the vampire curse but has somehow kept his human allegiances? Or are we so sure that he has? Well, he looks to be the long-range damage dealer of the group, able to turn briefly invisible to get the drop on enemies from afar. The potential these vampire hunters have to work together and use their powers cooperatively to take down bloodsuckers in unique ways is rather exciting. Layla helping Jacob find a vantage point and Remy and Dev working together to stake a vamp are just two examples we've seen so far. And even though each character has their own unique skills, you'll be able to upgrade them in ways that suit your own personal playstyle. Perhaps that means multiple skill trees unique to each character.
Yeah, I think there's vampire in this.
Really? What does it taste like? Be specific.
So how about the big bads of Redfall themselves? The vamps. Well, unlike vampires in other fiction, Arcane has described its bloodsuckers as creatures created after a scientific experiment went horribly wrong, and they're continuing to evolve. Arcane says they aren't afraid of crosses or allergic to garlic, and they probably don't sleep in coffins or need an invite to come into your house. Stakes, however, do still seem effective. According to the developer, not that long ago, these vampires were normal people. Or actually, normal, greedy people who were so obsessed with the idea of eternity that they used science to turn themselves into monsters. So these are vampires with a slightly more modern twist. They were born of the very old human desire to live forever, but achieved through biotech and scientific experimentation. And now, they're very lanky and very, very evil. There seem to be an awful lot of them too, and some develop more powerful abilities than others, displaying different tactics and necessitating alternative approaches to combat. Arcane has teased one type in the trailer, the Angler, a vampire that uses a psychic harpoon to drag players away from their team. It seems like you'll be going up against different types of vampires in the same way you went up against different types of undead in Left 4 Dead. And the closer that you get in Redfall to the epicenter of the events that started it all, the stronger and more dangerous the vampires you will encounter will be. We briefly glimpse one with multiple sets of arms, so look forward to dealing with that. Beyond vampires, players can also expect to be pitted against human cultists who worship the vampires, hoping to one day be permitted to join their ranks. There's always a Renfield, isn't there? To this end, the cultists created outposts all over Redfall, which players are tasked with taking down to make the island a safer place for human survivors. Now, this sounds a little bit like how outposts and influence work in Far Cry games. Perhaps by clearing outposts, you make it safe for human NPCs to take up residence, and they in turn can offer you additional resources or new, customizable weapons. Well, let's just hope these outposts are a little bit varied in their layout and how you'll be tasked with approaching and clearing them. Arcane has also said that players will be fighting vampires by night and human cultists by day. And this suggests something of a day-night cycle present in the game. Maybe this will manifest much like the similar mechanic in Dying Light, forcing players to think about where they are, what tools they have, and what respecking they might need to do as time marches on in-game. So that's all we were able to glean from various sources on Redfall so far. But we have to say, we are really intrigued by its premise and can't wait to hear and see more. Look, Team Eurogamer was born to take on some vamps. Let us know what you think of Redfall and what you hope to see from it in the comments, and we'll just be over here sharpening some stakes in preparation. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because we hear it's just as good as Brebon at keeping vamps at bay. Thanks for watching. Bye!
It's only just begun.